Ambassador Keithvar of the Galactic Assembly knelt in the ruins of what had once been the most powerful legislative body in the known universe. Around him, representatives from 47 different species pressed their faces to the crystalline floor, their various forms of submission creating a tapestry of defeat. Above them all stood High Commander Elena Reyes, the human who had orchestrated the complete reversal of galactic power in less than 2 standard years. "Rise," she commanded, her voice carrying through the chamber's acoustics with authority that would have been unthinkable when humans first petitioned for membership in the Assembly 50 years ago. Keithvar's tentacles trembled as he lifted his bulbous head. He remembered that day, clearly, how the Assembly had laughed at humanity's request for recognition as a sovereign species, how they had voted unanimously to classify Earth as a resource world suitable only for harvesting and exploitation, how they had carved up human territory among themselves like butchers dividing a carcass. They had been so confident in their superiority. The Zephyrian Empire had claimed Earth's oceans, planning to strip mine the seabeds with their aquatic technology. The Silicon Collective had marked the planet's deserts for their crystal farms. The Hive Queens had eyed the vast forests as breeding grounds for their warrior drones. Even the peaceful ethereal communion had wanted to use human neural patterns for their meditation experiments. Every single species in the Assembly had wanted a piece of Earth. None of them had bothered to truly study what they were trying to chain. "Do you remember," Elena continued, walking slowly among the kneeling aliens, her boots clicking against the floor, "what you called us during that first session? Barely sentient primates. Primitive mammals. Suitable only for manual labor." The Hive Queen Zixandra's compound eyes couldn't meet Elena's gaze. She remembered. They all remembered. "You divided our world among yourselves before we even finished our plea for recognition," Elena said, stopping before a holographic display that showed the current state of galactic power. Where once 47 species had controlled vast territories, now human colonies spread across 2/3 of known space. "You assigned us quota numbers for resource extraction. You planned our population centers as livestock management facilities." The transformation had begun subtly. Humans had appeared to accept their fate, even seemed grateful for the guidance of their galactic betters. They had worked diligently in the mines assigned to them, served faithfully on alien vessels, and submitted regular reports on Earth's resources with apparent compliance. But compliance had been camouflage. Dr. Michael Chen had been humanity's greatest gift to their captors, or so it had seemed. The brilliant xenobiologist had eagerly shared his research on alien physiology, offering insights that helped improve worker efficiency and reduce conflicts between species. His genetic compatibility studies had been praised by the Assembly as a model of interspecies cooperation. What they hadn't realized was that Chen was mapping their weaknesses. Every genetic sample, every biological profile, every psychological assessment had been carefully catalogued and transmitted back to Earth through seemingly innocent research data. While aliens congratulated themselves on human subservience, Earth's brightest minds had been developing the most comprehensive xenocide protocols in galactic history. "The Zephyrians were first," Elena continued, her tone conversational despite the magnitude of what she was describing. "Your aquatic physiology made you particularly vulnerable to the modified neurotoxin we introduced into your water recycling systems. 3 billion dead within hours across 400 worlds." Keithvar watched as the surviving Zephyrian representative, one of only a few thousand left of their once mighty empire, curled into a protective shell formation. The Silicon Collective was more challenging, Elena admitted. Crystalline beings don't respond to biological weapons, but they do respond to harmonic frequencies. Dr. Chen's resonance studies gave us the exact vibrations needed to shatter your consciousness matrices. Your homeworld's screaming lasted for days. The few remaining silicon beings in the chamber flickered with terrified energy patterns. The Hive Queens thought their distributed consciousness would protect them. Elena smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. They didn't account for quantum viruses that could propagate through psychic links. When we infected one queen, we infected them all simultaneously.
Elena reached the center of the chamber, where a massive holographic display showed Earth. No longer the divided resource world the Assembly had planned, but the beating heart of a human empire that now controlled most of the galaxy. You see, the mistake you made wasn't underestimating our technology, she explained. It was underestimating our memory. Humans don't forget. We don't forgive. And we certainly don't accept chains. The irony was exquisite. Every species that had wanted to exploit humanity had handed them the keys to their own destruction. The primitive humans had used their captors' own superiority complex against them, playing the role of grateful servants while systematically gathering the intelligence needed for total victory. But we're not monsters, Elena continued, her voice taking on a mock-gentle tone. We won't exterminate you completely. You'll be allowed to exist under proper human supervision, of course. Think of it as resource management. Kethvar felt his breathing sacs constrict with fear as he recognized his own species' words being thrown back at them. The tentacled hegemony will be assigned Mining Sector 7. Your natural excavation abilities make you suitable for manual labor. Elena's smile widened as she watched Kethvar's realization dawn. The remaining ethereals will be used for meditation experiments. We're curious about your neural patterns. The surviving hive spawn will make excellent worker drones in our breeding facilities. The parallels to their original plans for humanity were deliberate and devastating. You established the precedent, Elena said, gesturing to the assembly. Chamber that had once hosted their arrogant division of Earth. Stronger species have the right to manage weaker ones. Resources should be allocated efficiently. Inferior beings exist to serve superior ones. She paused, letting the words sink in. By your own laws, this is perfectly just. Elena activated a holographic document that materialized above the prostrate aliens. Your surrender terms are simple. Unconditional submission to human authority. Transfer of all remaining military assets to Earth Command. Relocation of your populations to designated work zones. And most importantly, she highlighted a specific clause. Acceptance that your species exists solely to serve human interests. The document was a word-for-word copy of the original subjugation treaty the Assembly had planned to force on Earth. As the broken representatives of dozens of species pressed their acknowledgement signatures to the surrender document, Elena felt a deep satisfaction. Humanity had spent 50 years being treated as prey animals. Now their predators knelt before them, learning what it truly meant to be chained. Welcome to the human empire, she announced as the final signature appeared. Try to be more useful than you were autonomous. Outside the chamber's windows, human warships patrolled the space lanes once controlled by alien fleets. On worlds across the galaxy, the former masters of the universe reported to human overseers and labored in human-controlled facilities. The species that had wanted to chain Earth now wore those very chains themselves, and Elena Reyes intended to make sure they never forgot which species truly deserved to rule the stars.